We have two individuals tonight representing the statewide initiative. Is that better? We have two individuals tonight representing Our Neighborhood Voices statewide initiative, Susan Candell and Mike Griffiths. Susan is an official proponent of the initiative and is a former mayor and current council member from the city of Lafayette. She's also a nuclear engineer. She supports affordable housing and knows that the current laws coming from Sacramento that push the trickle-down housing theory doesn't work. And she looks forward to the day when the state looks at cities as partners and not adversaries. Mike Griffiths is a council member from Torrance, and he's founder of the California Cities for Local Control, CCLC. It's a grassroots organization that Mike founded in July 2020. The organization's mission is to spread awareness and enlist support to ensure that cities can continue to manage their own land use and zoning issues. He's assembled a volunteer organization of people from all around California, including 600 elected officials, homeowner group representatives, city planners, and passionate homeowners, all sharing the common belief that local government should control our land use decisions. So I'll leave it to you two to figure out to get started. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Yes, I just flew in today from Northern California and for kind of a whirlwind weekend of events, some of them for Our Neighborhood Voices and some other, fun family things too. But kicking it off here, I'm very excited. So you guys are going to be the best, right? Because you're first. We're going to try to pull this back because I can't see the slides. We're going to have a slide presentation. All right, now I can see them. All right, good. So, and I want to introduce my my friend here. You can introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Susan. I'm honored to be next to a nuclear scientist. Engineer, excuse me. And, I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really happy to see there's such a great turnout of people who care about what's going on in their community. You wouldn't be here if you didn't, and that's why we're here as well. We care about the communities we live in. And we're going to talk a lot about what's been happening in Sacramento. We just heard from the lieutenant about crime happening in our neighborhood. We're going to talk about the crime that's happening up in Sacramento that's affecting our neighborhoods. And I'm going to let Susan do that. But I just a real quick intro on myself. I'm in my 10th year as a council member here in the city of Torrance. As Kathy said, I founded this organization in 2020 called California Cities for Local Control because as a council member, I was really upset by seeing some of these laws that Sacramento was passing in the dark that no one in the public was aware of. But we as the council members became aware of these laws because we had to adapt our own codes and ordinances to match what Sacramento was telling us to do, and taking out of our hands, which normally had been our purview, managing our land use and zoning and allowing Sacramento to take over those responsibilities from us. And unfortunately, when those changes happen, which they've been happening now for over the last 5 years, housing issues that are happening in your communities like ADUs, SB 9 lot splits, and all kinds of other crazy stuff that Sacramento is mandating, who are you going to call and complain to when it happens next to you? You're going to call your local city council member, but we're not the ones to blame. And we want to make sure that you understand Sacramento's doing this. They're doing it in the dark. They're not letting you know what's going on. Most people in the public have no idea what's going on. So we're here to try to educate you. And Susan has the solution to this problem. And it's really important that you guys get behind what Susan is rallying, the Our Neighborhood Voices ballot initiative, which will solve these problems and return local control back to the cities where we believe that it belongs. Take it away, Susan.
That was awesome, Mike. Mike he's here because he's my friend and a very passionate speaker. And so thank you, Mike. So I will start with this. I'll try to go through the slides quickly because the Q&A part, you guys, is so important because that's where we get, some more information sharing. So if we start the slides.
Trying to.
We can go, okay.
See.
Page down usually works. It is. All right. Perfect. Okay. So what is this initiative? We are trying to get a referendum on the ballot for 2024. And what it will do is whenever you have a conflict between a state law and your city's law, the city's going to win. And so immediately after adoption, you go next, it allows communities to choose those state laws, because sometimes you like the state laws. Sometimes there's some good stuff that's going on and you go, this works in our community. I like it. And so you can choose to let that law stay. But if you don't like it and it's not working out for your community, you can just pass your own thing and you will win. So it's very simple. All right, next one. And it works immediately. So basically all those state laws that have been passed, there's over 100 laws that have been passed that we're waiting our staff and our city councils through. And so, but you can choose to adopt them or you can choose not to adopt them. That's what the initiative does. All right, next one. So what are we doing today? Right now, we are going out, I'll show you a timeline coming up soon, but we have to raise a bunch of money to collect 875,000 signatures across the state of California. Pretty daunting. We have an entire crew of people that can go out, but we're going to have to pay for some signature gatherers. And so right now we need, in order to even get off the ground, we need to raise a bunch of money. And so we want to raise this money soon. And actually we've got little envelopes in the back. And then there's a card with a QR code. If you're fancy on your phone and do the QR code, want to donate like that, it'll go to our website. I know, and they're in the back. So, all right, next one. And so here's the problem, is that the deal Sacramento made with our cities is that they said, hey, we're going to take away your local control, but we're going to do that and solve our affordable housing crisis and our homelessness crisis. That's how they've been justifying all these laws. All right, next.
How's that working out?
The result, yeah, not so well. All right. Have we solved the homelessness crisis? No. Have we solved the affordable housing crisis? No. Everything's going up and up. And so we're tired of that. So go to the next one. And it's the demand. Stop it. None of these laws that you're passing are actually fixing the problems we face. And so you guys know I'm an engineer by education profession. I don't get paid if I give lip service to problems and I don't solve them. I literally get fired. And so that's what they're doing. This is all a charade. They're saying, oh, we're going to solve all these things. But the way the laws are written, they're not meant to actually solve these things. And that's the frustrating part. And we're sick and tired of it. And they're blaming us for all their problems. Like my senator actually said, they're blaming us for all our problems, even though it's not our fault. So it's time to stop that. All right, next. All right, so SB 9, if you guys are familiar with this one, this is an example from Nils Drimhem from Redondo Beach. And it is a single family home that was bought under SB 9. And next. And here is what they did. That's actually 4 units. It's a duplex plus ADUs in the back. So you went from 1 to 4. SB 9 allows that by right. If you're the next door neighbor, you don't even get a letter. You get nothing. You get no say. The city has no say. This just happens and staff signs off on it. The problem is, so if we go next, the initial house was $1.7 million. And guess what the other one sold for? Well, one half was 1.8 and the other half was, I think 2.1. So is this solving our affordable housing crisis? Not at all. All it is densifying our really nice places. And so I live in a city that's a lot probably like your town. And we get McMansions with our SB 9s because there's no affordable requirement as part of it. And there's cities that are suing the state because it was said, we're going to solve the affordable housing crisis with SB 9 and there's no affordable requirements. And so this is what we're going to get.
And there's no parking required in the back for the other units. No. The state's now saying we don't need parking for cars anymore. No. Maybe they think we're not going to have cars, but we're California. People seem to have forgotten that.
It's totally fair. All right, next. All right, so this is one that I want you guys to really look at. All right, this is what they called the builder's remedy. And has anybody raised their hand if you've heard of the builder's remedy? All right, a bunch of you guys had good, all right? Why I'm pointing this out is that when a city doesn't have a certified housing element, this can happen in your city. And why I'm saying that up, because I looked up Rancho Palos Verdes, and you guys do not have a certified housing element yet. This can happen. So if you don't have a certified housing element, a builder can come in and buy any property and say, if they put in 20% affordable units, they literally can build anything, anywhere. In your single family neighborhoods, they can build anywhere. It's chaos. And so Santa Monica was the first city that got hit. They got hit right before they tried to certify their housing element with 14 projects with 4,000 units. Literally the week before they adopted it. It was completely crazy. And you guys have heard of YIMBY. So YIMBY is Yes in My Backyard. They are they try to pose themselves as a grassroots organization. They're not. They're extremely well funded by developers and big tech. And so YIMBY Law is offering to help sue cities that don't have certified health and do builders remedy projects in those cities. And so they not only is this going through, you've got a whole law team behind it forcing it through. All right, next one. So here's a couple of them. Okay, so there's one in, where was that one? Oh, that's in Palo Alto. So it's happening all over the state. And this is much bigger than is anything around it. All right, go next one. And this one actually is in Marin City. And why I point this out is that Marin City is a predominantly Black community in Marin. And it is a extremely close-knit, well-run city. And they're getting this project and they're everything's very affordable in Marin City, and that's been by design. None of the affordable units in here are even affordable by their residents because it's by county. And so it's really sad, because they're going to take out a bunch of the current housing that is affordable and put in this stuff that's not even going to be affordable for their residents. Okay, this is one of the ones in Santa Monica. One. Anything, anywhere. Could you imagine if you're that little house right next door? You'd be like, what? There goes all my sunshine. All right, keep going. Okay, so this is a project that's actually happening in San Francisco. And actually, it's Wednesday night, right? They're actually hearing it in San Francisco tonight in their planning department. So we'll know tomorrow how this went. This is actually not even builder's remedy. This is under the Housing Accountability Act, this is just a density bonus, which all the cities have to do. And they, instead of having 4 kind of short buildings, they said, you know what? We're just going to go for it. We're going to make them all together and just go up. And so this picture came out. We all went, are you kidding me? And it actually complies with all the state laws. And they're hearing it tonight. I don't think that we've had projects like that in my city that we've had to approve. I don't think they can turn it down. They can try, but they're going to get sued. But the crazy part, if you hit the next one. Okay, do you know guys know Senator Scott Wiener? Senator Scott Wiener, right? He's a really smart guy who has been the mastermind of all these bills. When you say 100 bills, they're 100 bills, but they interact all with each other. So it's really hard to figure out. It's like, why is he passing that? Oh, because the next bill goes on and plays on it, right? He's just this mastermind in there. This is in his district. He's even trying to distance himself from that. He's like, I don't think any of the laws that I passed, fed into this. And you're like, are you kidding me? All of the laws that you passed are feeding into this. And so it's been funny. And if you go to the next one, and then we have a bunch of YIMBY folks around here. They're like, oh, how beautiful. You're like, you've got to be kidding me. So anyways, so this is coming. This is the natural progression of all the laws that have been passed in Sacramento. One of the new ones, Wiener's new ones, SB 423, exempts the coastal zones. Yeah, nobody's done that before. I'm like, wow. Anyways, so this is one in Redondo Beach. I don't know whether it's going to end up, but it's also another builder's remedy project. It's on a defunct power plant, and it's just a monster. All right, keep going. And another one in San think this is, I think this is also in Redondo Beach. All right, keep going. Pictures are just so fun. All right, so where are we right now? So literally within the next couple of weeks, we are going to submit to the Attorney General our rewritten initiative. We tried this before. We didn't get enough signatures. We pulled it back. And we pulled it back because there was a couple things in there that people were saying, there's all these unintended consequences. And we went, oh, okay. So we regrouped. We met with a bunch of lawyers. We met with the alleged counsel up in Sacramento, and we rewrote it. And in a way that all these unintended consequences should not happen. And even the League of California Cities, their attorneys read it and agree. It's a much better initiative right now. So that is exciting. So we're going to be submitting it to him, which is AG Bonta. We're hoping he doesn't distort it. They're not supposed to. And then he gets, I think, 60 days. And then he gets it back to us. And then it's hit the ground running, start collecting signatures. And so we've collected about $700,000 so far. We're trying to get 3 million, and it's across the whole state. And so we're getting there. One of the big events we're throwing this weekend, where there's hopefully a bunch of big players coming, is in Palos Verdes Estates at a fantastic thing. And I know Kathy knows all the information. And if you are interested, it's at 1:30, and it's an in-person event at a really great place. And so if you guys want to come, or if you've got people that aren't here tonight that still want to come, they can come to the one on Saturday at 1:30. But it's going to be really great. John Heath, we're pulling out all the stops. We're pulling like literally a bunch of people from Northern California, a bunch of people from Southern California. Unfortunately, Mike has his cultural fair that day, so he can't make it. But we're pulling out all the stops. So it should be a great event. And if you're interested, I think you guys all know Kathy, email to her and I'll get her the information to send to you. They made this graphic. This is not our graphic. You'd think that we made this. We didn't make this. This is their graphic. And so there is no doubt in anybody's mind that this is where we're going. And if you don't want this to happen, this is the only thing left, because Sacramento is not going to undo all these laws. They just won't. And so this is the only thing we can fight with that is left. So I just kind of wanted to leave you with that really sad picture. Sorry. All right, now go and make Mike wants to say something.
I do. I want to just, I know Susan went through a lot of stuff really quick, and it's a lot more complicated than she described. But the bottom line is our neighborhoods are being attacked by Sacramento. Most of you here probably have R1 zone homes that you live in, where you intentionally bought homes in neighborhoods like that because you wanted to live in a neighborhood that's not dense and people have a little space around each other. And Sacramento believes that that's a sin, and that the single family neighborhoods are the bane of California, and that's what's caused all the problems in California. Well, we all know that that's really not true. And really the bottom line is that Sacramento is beholden to the developers who help get them elected into office in California. And those developers have been clamoring for many, many years, saying, why aren't cities building more buildings? Why aren't cities building more housing and more big projects? And so this is their way to say, we thank you for your patience, developers. Now it's time for us to pay you back for helping us get elected year after year after year. And they're going to reap all the benefits. They're going to take all the money and leave us with a disaster on our hands. And so I challenge all of you here to say, is $100 investment in this project to try to stop this worth protecting your community? I can't think of anybody here who cares about your community who wouldn't say $100 is worth the investment. So I hope you guys help out Our Neighborhood Voices people. Our group is a huge supporter of them. We're working with all the electeds in the state of California. This affects every single city in the state of California. No city is exempt. It affects everybody universally, and Sacramento somehow thinks that every city should be exactly the same. And we believe that one size does not fit all. And with the help of Our Neighborhood Voices, we want to stop this and really bring back sanity to managing our communities and how we live in our community. So I just really want to stress the importance of what Susan's group is doing and get as much support for them as you can, because once we lose this opportunity, I don't know that we'll ever be able to go back, and we really need to stop them now, and the time has come. So thank you guys. In Torrance, we have a hillside area where there's a lot of homes with views. And I know up here in Palos Verdes, there's a lot of homes with views. And we have a law in our city to protect those views in those neighborhoods. And so basically, if somebody wants to build an addition or a second story in those areas, they have to get special approval, and it goes to public hearings and so on and so forth to get approved. And the city can deny it, or the public can outcry and get the planning commission or the city council to deny it. These laws from the state eliminate our ability to use our own rules, like these view protection rules. Your views are no longer protected as of now. If you have a view today and somebody wants to build a 3-story, I mean, there are some limitations, but if they want to build an addition that it blocks your view, any laws that you might have had previously will no longer be in effect. They can do that addition without any approval from the planning commission, the city council. It just has to pass basic safety inspection from the planning department. No public notice.
We've got to get behind this initiative. You know, they've literally taken away local control, and that's why we were formed 50 years ago, was so that we could have local control, so that we could keep condos off the bluff tops. And now they can put a condo up next door to you. With all the way the laws are written, and if they all go through and this initiative doesn't pass, we're all sort of up the creek. I mean, not just sort of, we are up the creek. There is no provision for any infrastructure at all. When I think about where I live, some of you know on Seaglen, it's a short down the curve, down the hill street, and there are already people that park on the street. But if someone took my lot, divvied it up into 4 units, that would be 4 more cars minimum on there, because no, we don't live near a bus line. And then how would a fire truck get in there? They can't. It's so important. And really and truly, this only benefits developers. That's, you know, follow the dollar. And when you follow the dollar on all these initiatives, on all of these laws that are coming out, they're benefiting developers. And I've worked with the developers on a lot of different things, but that's why we have our rules, and that's why we have our planning commission. And when you just obliterate everything and say, okay, go ahead, build whatever you want, we're in trouble. And that's where we stand right now.
Let me turn it over to our esteemed city manager. Ara?
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, and the mayor, for, I think you covered everything I'm going to cover, but I'll just add a little bit more detail. I apologize for being redundant, and I tend to talk a lot. I can't keep my mouth shut, and so that's why I kept coming up to the podium here. And I can tell you what you heard this evening is very serious. I've been saying this to this group, to many of the public that I speak to, even before I became city manager. You need to be paying attention to what's happening. You need to be paying attention to RENA, because it's changing your quality of life. It's threatening what why you moved here. People move to certain neighborhoods, they move to certain areas based on what they're looking for. And the peninsula is a certain, has a certain character. Other areas have different characters, and you choose where you want to go. It shouldn't look the same. And that's important. The California Constitution, like I said, it gave cities local control. It said you can create you have to have a general plan. That general plan is your vision. The housing element implements your vision. What's happening is that's being taken away. And so I say all the time that, yes, we do have a housing crisis. Yes, we do have an affordability crisis. We do. but let the cities decide how to address that issue for that city. And that's what this is all about. And so when they're telling you, you need to tell people about SB 9, need to tell people about SB 423, you do, because people don't know. I know my circle of friends don't know. People don't know, they don't follow these things. There's no longer single family residential zoning. It's gone. SB 9 eliminated it. So there's no longer single family. So when you hear people saying single family, no, you do not have single family. It's no longer allowed. The builder's remedy, what you heard, the threats, those developments, we have received an application for that. And I'm being told there may be 9 more applications coming our way. I was told that yesterday. So this is very concerning to me. Which is what prompted me to talk to the city attorney yesterday about our housing element and finding a more streamlined approach to getting that done. Because I feel like we are vulnerable and more at threat while we don't have a housing element. And there are just a few things that we have to do, and we have to rezone these properties. But if SB 423 passes, if we don't have a housing element, it's no longer just zoning. You have to build it, or else you're subject to these penalties. And the city can't build it, and we can't force developers. We are trying to redevelop certain areas of the city. I have met with different developers. I have spent hours with them touring the city. They express an interest. They want to do a mixed use development in areas where we think it's suitable. And then I don't hear from them again. So I can't even force them to come. I'm almost like putting down the red carpet to invite them to do some mixed use. They see it, it doesn't pencil out, or they walk away. So anyway, I don't want to talk too much about that. You've heard it. You do need to talk about it. Tell your friends about it. The city, on our website, we do have a page called the Legislative Corner. It has legislation on it. It tells you where the city council takes positions. Our council is very vocal about taking positions. And the one thing I know as the city manager working with the council is they don't just take a position, they try to justify it and explain an alternative to it. So it's not like, no, we oppose this. We oppose it, but why not try looking at it a different way? And I think that's important so that people start to think outside the box.